let me ask you something, and I need you to really think about this before you answer. Who is the one person in your life that you did the most for? The one you showed up for when nobody else did? The one you gave your time, your money, your energy, your peace of mind? The one you stayed quiet for, sacrificed for, bent yourself in half just to make sure they were okay? Got that person in your head? Now tell me, where are they today? Because I'm willing to bet they are not in your corner the way you were in theirs. And that right there, that is the wound nobody talks about. Not the kind that bleeds. The kind that stays. The quiet kind. The kind that makes you sit alone at night wondering what you did wrong when you know, deep down, you did everything right. This video is about that. About why the very people you pour yourself into become the very ones who drain you, expose you, betray you, or simply walk away like you never mattered. And we are not going to scratch the surface today. We are going in deep, because you deserve a real answer. Here is the thing that nobody tells you when you decide to be a good person. Helping someone is not always a gift to them. Sometimes, without meaning to, it is a threat. Think about it like this. Imagine a little kid who can't tie their shoes, and every single day you tie those shoes for them. At first, they are grateful, but after a while, something shifts. Every time you kneel down to tie those laces, they don't see kindness anymore. They see proof. Proof that they can't do it themselves. Proof that they needed you. And slowly, that proof starts to feel like an insult. Now make that kid an adult. Make the shoes a job, a relationship, a dream, a second chance, and make you the person who gave it to them. You see where this is going. When you help someone in a really big way, you don't just give them something, you also show them something. You show them the version of themselves that was struggling, weak, lost, or broken. And as long as you exist in their life, that version of them never fully disappears. Because every time they look at you, they remember. They remember who they were before you stepped in. And some people, not all, but some, they would rather burn the whole bridge down than keep walking across it and remembering how badly they needed it built. That is not your fault, but it is absolutely your reality. And I want to stop here for a second, because I know what some of you are thinking right now. You're thinking, maybe I just picked the wrong person. Maybe I just had bad luck. Maybe next time it'll be different. And I understand that thought. It is a comforting thought. It lets you off the hook. It says, this was a one-time mistake. Move on. Try again with someone new. But here's the problem with that. If you don't understand why this happens, you will keep repeating it. You will keep finding the same person wearing a different face. You will keep pouring yourself into people who are not built to hold what you give them. Not because you are broken, but because you are drawn to a familiar feeling. And until you understand the psychology underneath all of this, that familiar feeling will keep pulling you back to the same kind of pain. So let's go deeper. Let's talk about what is actually happening inside the mind of the person who hurt you. Because when you understand it, it stops feeling like betrayal. It starts feeling like biology. And biology, you can protect yourself from. Now here is where it gets really dark. And I need you to stay with me, because this next part explains everything. When someone owes you a debt they cannot repay, something strange happens inside them. The gratitude they felt at the beginning, it starts to rot. It curdles into something ugly. Something that doesn't have a pretty name. It becomes resentment. And resentment is sneaky. It doesn't show up wearing a sign. It shows up looking like distance, like coldness, like little comments that sting just a bit too much. Like them suddenly being tight with someone who never did anything for them while they act like you never existed. You've felt that before. That specific kind of confusion where you're standing there thinking, I was there for this person. I was there when no one else was. And now they look at me like I'm the problem. You are not confused. You are seeing it clearly. The problem is that what you are seeing doesn't make logical sense, because we are taught that kindness creates kindness, that when you give, people give back, that love is a mirror. But here's the truth. Love is only a mirror when the other person is comfortable looking at themselves, and a lot of people are not. A lot of people are running from their own reflection. And you, with all your goodness, with all your giving, you became that reflection. You became the mirror they cannot stand to face. So they crack it. They crack you. Let me tell you exactly how it happens, step by step. Because once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. It starts quietly. Back when you first started helping them, everything was warm. There was gratitude. There was closeness. There was this beautiful, unspoken bond between you two. You were the strong one. They were the one who needed a hand. Simple, safe, understood. But then time moves, and you keep growing. You keep winning. And their life, it stays complicated. Or maybe it gets better, but never quite catches up. And now, the gap between you two is growing. And that gap, that space between where they are and where you are, it eats at them. Not because they hate you, but because they hate what that gap tells them about themselves. So their brain does something wild. Their brain starts rewriting history. Suddenly, the help you gave wasn't that big of a deal. Suddenly, they would have figured it out anyway. Suddenly, you weren't being generous. You were being controlling. You had an agenda. You wanted them to owe you. And here's the terrifying part. They are not lying when they say this. They actually believe it. Their brain built them a whole new story so they could live with themselves. A story where they are not the person who needed saving. A story where you are the villain. And in that story, whatever they do to you next, it's justified. That is when the betrayal happens. And it doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just them slowly replacing you, using what you taught them, taking what you gave them, and building a life with it that has no room for you in it. Now I want to talk about the part that hurts the most, the part we never say out loud. A lot of us who give too much, who show up too hard, who pour ourselves into other people, we are not just being kind, we are searching for something. We are chasing a feeling. The feeling of being needed. The feeling that says, I matter. I am important. I am valuable. Because they cannot survive without me. And I'm not saying that to judge you. I'm saying it because I want you to be free. When your worth lives inside someone else's need, you will always attract the wrong people. You will keep finding the ones who take, who drain, who disappear when they no longer need you. Not because you are unlucky, but because that is exactly the trade you are subconsciously offering. You give them everything, and in return, they give you a reason to feel like you matter. That is not love. That is not friendship. That is a wound pretending to be a gift. So, what do you actually do with all of this? First, you stop being surprised. The person who hurts you after you help them is not a mystery. They are a pattern. And now you know the pattern, which means you have power over it. Second, you learn to help with a closed fist and an open heart. What I mean is this: be kind, be generous, be the person you are, but stop making yourself the lifeline. Stop being the one thing standing between someone and their rock bottom. Because when you are that person, when you are that essential to their survival, you are not their friend. You are their excuse. You are the reason they never had to figure it out themselves, and they will resent you for it, even if they never say so. Third, you watch how people celebrate you, not how they treat you when they need something. Anyone can be warm when they are hungry. Watch how they act when you win, when something goes right for you, when you share good news. That reaction, that tiny split-second reaction before they can control their face, that tells you everything. Joy from a real friend looks different from envy hiding behind a smile. Learn to tell the difference. Fourth, protect your inner world. Stop letting everyone in. Stop letting every sad story be your emergency. Stop letting every person with a wound become your project. Your energy is not unlimited. Your time is not unlimited. Your peace is not unlimited. And the people who truly deserve what you have to give, they will not drain you trying to get it. And I want to leave you with this. The next time someone you poured yourself into lets you down, walks away, talks behind your back, or stabs you in the chest with the very knife you handed them, I want you to remember this moment right here. Their betrayal is not a verdict on your worth. It is not proof that you were naive. It is not a sign that you should stop being who you are. It is information. Cold, painful, clarifying information. It is the world showing you exactly what that person is made of when no one is watching. And it is showing you where not to invest again. You did not fail. You gave real. They just weren't ready for it. And some people, no matter what you do, no matter how much you give, will never be ready. Because the problem was never what you gave them. The problem was what they couldn't give themselves. So here's your one question to sit with tonight. Not tomorrow. Tonight. Who in your life shows up for you the same way you show up for them? Not when it's easy. Not when they need something. But when it costs them something. When they have to sacrifice. When they have to choose. Who chooses you? Those are the ones worth everything you have. Everyone else? Let the mirror go. Stop carrying it for people who only want to shatter it. You were never meant to be someone's punching bag dressed up as a blessing. You were meant to be someone's equal. Go find those people. But before you go, there is one more thing I have to say. And this might be the most important part of this entire video. There is a difference between giving from a full cup and giving from an empty one. Most people who get hurt the way we have been describing today, they were giving from empty. They were already running low. Already tired. Already stretched thin. And yet they kept giving. Kept showing up, kept saying yes when every part of their body was screaming no. And why? Because somewhere along the way, they started to believe that their worth was tied to how much they could carry for someone else. That if they stopped being useful, they would stop being lovable. That if they had nothing left to give, they had nothing left to offer. That is one of the most painful lies a person can live inside of. And if that sounds familiar, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not a function. You are not a service. You are not here to be consumed by people who cannot see past their own pain long enough to appreciate what you're giving them. Your worth is not in your giving. Your worth was there before you gave anyone a single thing, and it will be there long after. The people who are worthy of your energy will not make you feel like you have to earn your place in their lives. They will not make you feel like you are always one mistake away from being discarded. They will not make you feel small for having needs of your own. They will simply show up, the way you show up, quietly, consistently, without keeping score. Let me also talk about the warning signs. Because betrayal does not happen overnight. It builds. It has tells. And if you know what to look for, you can walk away before it costs you everything. The first sign is one-sided effort. You are always the one reaching out, always the one checking in, always the one making the plan. And when you stop, the silence is deafening. That silence is your answer. The second sign is competitive energy. Real friends want you to win. They celebrate your good news loudly and your bad news with care. But the person we're describing? They get quiet when you succeed. Maybe they make a little joke that stings. Maybe they suddenly need something from you right when you're at your highest. They cannot let you have a moment because your moment reminds them of everything they haven't achieved yet. The third sign is the way they talk about you to other people. You will find out. You always find out eventually. And what you find out will tell you who they have been this whole time while smiling in your face. The fourth sign is how they respond when you say no. A person who truly values you will respect a boundary. They might be disappointed, but they will respect it. But the person who only valued what you could do for them? The moment you say no, the warmth disappears. Suddenly you are selfish. Suddenly you are distant. Suddenly you have changed. And what that really means is that you stopped being useful. And to them, useful was the only version of you that mattered. Learn these signs. Write them down if you have to, because your future peace depends on your ability to see them early. And finally, for everyone who has already been through this, for everyone who gave everything and got nothing back but pain, for everyone who is sitting with the ache of a friendship or relationship that turned to ash after everything you sacrificed, I see you, and I want you to know something. Healing from this kind of hurt is not about becoming harder. It is not about building walls so high that nothing and no one can get in. That is not healing, that is hiding. And you deserve more than a life lived in hiding. Healing from this is about becoming wiser, about learning to read people more carefully, about giving yourself the same generosity you give so freely to others, about filling your own cup first, so that what spills over is truly a gift and not a sacrifice. You are not too much. You were just with the wrong people. You are not naive. You were just trusting before you had the information you have now, and you are not finished. You are just beginning to understand who actually deserves the version of you that shows up with everything. Go be that person. But this time, be it for the right ones.